Good morning, guys. So this is going to be part 3 of my washer dryer moving indoors series, and we are going to continue where we left off. And basically what is going to happen today is I'm going to focus on the electrical and then actually bringing the washer in here and hooking it up so that I can get a height for the dryer to put the vent exhaust. So that's going to be what today is going to be focusing on. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like. I would really appreciate it. All right, so I'm at the side of the house, basically right next to the dryer. This is the existing plug. So this is a 220, 208 plug, I guess. And then you can see the back. And this is the box where it is. It's basically mounted on the same beam. You know, this is the drain line that I ran in the last video. I have my electrical wire right here hanging over the top. So basically what's going to happen is I am going to just be eliminating this plug. And then the wire that I'm running, which is that orange one there, is going to tie into the existing wires using wire nuts. And that is going to be, then a cover is just going to be put on that box, and it's going to be a solid steel cover, so there's going to be no plug or anything here after I'm done. Okay, so we are back inside, and this is my outlet box that will be the new plug-in for the dryer. I have a new plug and cover here, and you can see the back. So the wire that's used for this is called 10-3. So basically what that is, I'll put a little insert right here. And what that is it's 10 gauge wire, 3 conductor, and then there's a ground wire. So this is used for any higher voltage applications such as 208, 220. I think that it can actually go bigger than that because there's 3 and 4 pin plugs at this range. So if you have a 4-pin plug, you would have 4 wires basically, and then a ground. And then from there it goes up to like 480, which is really high power, and probably nothing that you will have in your house will be that, unless you have some kind of machinery or welder setup. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so a little bit more detail about this plug. It has the 3 screws here on the back, and then if you look here on this side, you see the little clamping mechanism. So you expose your wire, you put them in the hole there, then you tighten the screw down and it clamps down. So when you're doing this, you only want to expose as much wire as you need that will fit into this hole. So maybe 1/2 inch or less. And this is what is considered a 30 amp plug. You can see it has little ratings written on top of there. So 125, 250 volt. And then of course me, I always have multiple projects, so I'm also putting a dresser together. All right, everything's connected. I have my ground wire going into the housing. I have this one is actually, I don't know if it's showing up, but it actually says white on this one. There you go, white Blanco. And then basically I'm just mimicking what the other plug was. So it had black and then red over here. And then that is your plug that's gonna go in. So I'm going to go ahead and button this up, and then this one will be done. And of course, the other end of this wiring is not even hooked up, so there's no voltage or anything on it. And of course, I want to say that this is higher voltage than what your standard outlet is. So if you're not comfortable with doing this kind of electrical, then don't do it. I have had some electrical experience. I've been a technician for a long time. I've done a lot of electrical testing and even high voltage testing. I am not a licensed electrician, but I am familiar with it and I do know how it works. So again, if electrical is something you are not comfortable with, then hire somebody to do it for you. All right. All right, so this is all buttoned up. I think that I'm actually going to go and get an extension on this, just because with this box I didn't realize that it's actually a flush set box. And so when I put the sheetrock on here, it's actually going to probably stick out a little bit further than this. So you can get little extensions that'll push this out, and then this plate will just attach to that extension. So I think I'm going to go get one of those. Also, since the screws are on the back of this plug, you have to be careful when you push this in so that it's not contacting your ground, which also the extension will help with that. There's enough room in this box because this, kicks it out about a 1/2 inch here. But you just need to be mindful of that so that none of your wires contact each other inside the box. Otherwise, you'll see a nice light show. All right, so I'm about to head under the house, and basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be tying up these lines. So this is the electrical line on the bottom there, and then the PEX lines. And for the PEX lines, I got these. They're little PEX, or they're made by the same company. So they basically just slip over, and then you nail it down. And this is what it looks like here. So these are for 1/2 inch PEX lines. And then they just take standard nails, and then I have the staples for the electrical. All right, so everything is tied up in here. See all the lines running down this beam. The electrical goes over the beam right there because the box is just on the other side of that beam. So now I'm going to go back out there next to the dryer and do the wiring out there. Okay, so I pulled the dryer out so that I could have better access to this. And what's going to happen in here is this plug is going to be removed. The wires will be pulled out. And then I'm going to connect my new wires to the old wires using wire nuts or standard wire connectors, they call them. And they come in different sizes depending on how big the wire is that you're using. It has little recommendations on the bag here. So the same wires are in this cable, which is a white, black, red, and a ground. So they're just all going to be connected to these ones. It's going to be pushed in the box, and then I have a cover that's going to go over, so there will be no plug here. Okay, so this is all done. I like to put just a little twist on the wires like that just to keep them together better. And then I separate them out even though they're in the box and they got caps on them. I will have to go back and add a piece here because I got 3/4 holes. This box only has 1/2 inch holes. Hi, Hati, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you under the house? So this box is done. I'm going to go ahead and put the cover on it, and then we are ready to go back in the house. Okay, I'm back inside, and what I'm going to be doing now is getting my first piece of sheetrock cut up. So I'm going to cut a hole in it for here and for this outlet, and I believe it will come up, somewhere, I don't know, in this area. And I may end up having to go back and trim it. So after I get that piece of sheetrock up, then I'm going to bring the washer in, install the washer. Then I have to install the stack kit, which is this thing right here. So there's a little kit that, you attach to the dryer base to go on top of the washer. Then I can put the dryer on, I can see where the exhaust port is going to go, and then I can go from there. All right, So I got this piece kind of cut up, and I'm just doing the last minute fit up. Okay, so I ended up going with cement board. Ideally, you'd probably want to go with the green board, the drywall board, which is the mildew resistant board, but they only sold that in, it was like full sheets, and they were double packs. And they sold this cement board in small sheets, 36 by 48, I think they were. So I ended up going with this. This will probably never actually be finished because this is going to be in a cabinet in the back. I will finish the edges up and along this wall, but the board itself will probably just remain like this. And also, I turned off the circuit breaker for this outlet because the wires connect on the side, so your natural action is to grab it like this, and if you do that, you're going to get shocked. So this breaker's off until I put that back in, and then I'll turn it back on. Okay, I know you're asking yourself, Jason, why is your joint compound pink? You must be really secure in your manhood. That's not it. Actually, the new joint compounds, they have a chemical reaction in them, so when you put it on, it's pink. When it's dry, it turns white. So that way you know that it's ready to sand or to put another coat. Pretty cool technology. Okay, so it is the next day. I actually had to wait till my neighbor was available to help me bring these in. So if you look on the back, see how all of that spackling, the joint compound is now white. So that means everything's dry. I have the washer and dryer both hooked up. So everything's running. Basically what I have left to do now is the stack kit has to be attached to the dryer base, and then it needs to be set up top. Once that's set up top, then I can figure out where to cut the hole for the dryer vent. And then once that's done, I can put the top sheet up and close it up, and then that'll be it. All right, so this is the stack kit. From what it looks like in the instructions, these pieces snap into the bottom of the dryer, which are what it sits on once it's up here. And then it comes with two sets of brackets, and these basically attach to the back, either this one or that one. I'm not sure which one it is. I gotta look. And then that's what the dryer will go up against. So yeah. All right, so I just have the dryer leaned up against the wall there. Might not be the best method, but it's what I got. So the way that this works is there's these little clips right there, and those go into these square holes here. And then there's a screw hole in there, which is this screw hole here. So it clips in on both sides and screws in, and then you just have to, sorry for turning the camera all weird. You just have to make sure the feet are run all the way up, which they are. And then this piece will snap into place. And it's got some guides. So you see the little hole and pin right there. All right, so that's in. I just have to add the screws and then I get to do it to the other side. All right, so I made my wife lift that, so I was just gonna film. Kidding, but she helped me. All right, so that's on top. Now I have to attach the brackets in the back. So there's basically brackets that go from these holes, and I think it attaches down to this one here. I gotta figure out which one of these it is. And then there's my vent. So yeah, this is gonna be really close to where this 2x4 is, but I have a flexible line, so I think I'm gonna end up just putting it, you know, somewhere like right in this area. And then I have the flexible line because this is gonna get pushed back, but there will still be maybe 8 inches, 8 to 10 inches in between, so it'll have some flexibility in there. The first bracket wasn't even close, so it looks like it's this bracket here. And basically this will bolt on to these 2 holes up here, and then this will attach down here. I have to remove the 1 screw that's in there, and then it'll also pick up this hole here. All right, so that bracket is fully installed. Now I just have to do the one down here on this side. All right, so both brackets are now installed, and now I'm basically going to figure out a good spot to cut this hole. So I will probably go from the outside for that. I think what I'm gonna do is I'll kind of pick my spot, and then I'm gonna just drill a hole through, and then that way I know that'll be about where the center of the, I think it's a 4-inch hole that I need to cut. So I'm outside the house. This is the hole that I drilled through. So basically what I'm gonna do is take my vent and I'm gonna just put it on there, and I'm gonna trace a circle around it and then use my jigsaw to cut it out. All right, so this is my vent. That's the back. It has little flaps that open, you know, when the dryer's running. So basically I'm just gonna hold it up there, trace the circle on the back, and then cut it out. All right, so the exhaust vent is done, and I can come back later on, and this is actually paintable, so it's not silicone, but you know, paintable caulking. So I can come back later and I can touch that up and maybe even paint the whole thing, I don't know. All right, so we're just about done. I have my flexible vent here. It will go on here and then go down to the opening, and then I have a hose clamp that's gonna go over this. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on. All right, so everything is hooked up. That side basically just kind of snaps in place. Hopefully it stays in there. Okay. So I'll add this later on. Still got to figure out what we're going to do here for a cabinet. So yeah, I just wanted it functional because we have laundry to do. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap up part 3. We are installed and functional. It's inside the house, so I think this is going to be the end of this series. I will eventually, we're going to make some kind of a cabinet around this, but I'm not sure how soon that's going to happen because I have to contact the people that made our kitchen cabinets and see what they're going to charge us to make a matching cabinet for the washer and dryer. So that's going to wrap up this series. I hope that this was informational for you or for some of you. And if it was, then please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next video. Aloha.